What is up, YouTube? Welcome to this Moralis video. Today we're making a very cool NFT marketplace, and we're even integrating it with a smart contract so you can make on-chain purchases and sells of your NFTs on this marketplace. Look at how cool this is. You have an interface where you see all your favorite NFT collections, and when you go to a single collection and click it, you get all the NFTs within that collection rendered out for you. You can also go over here to the top left and search for any NFT collection you like. And after you press it, you get the NFTs within that collection. Like here, we have all these cool cat NFTs. But now as we move on, we go to the Your Collection tab. And as we wait for this to load, we should get our NFTs that we hold in this wallet rendered. You see here, I have 4 NFTs, but this is not all. Of course, we don't want to be limited to one chain. There's multiple chains with different NFT projects, and Moralis provides cross-chain capabilities. We can go over here and change from Ethereum to Mumbai testnet. Of course, you can add any chain that Moralis has support for. So we switch network with a MetaMask, and now we wait for us to render with the Mumbai testnet, and we get all the NFTs we hold on the Mumbai testnet. Here I've created a Test Mages, NFT Collection, and Pixel Show, and we hold a few NFTs over here. Now getting into the more juicy bits, we have this List NFT for Sale button over here. If we press it, we get the option to list this NFT for sale. Let's put it for sale for 0.8 Matic, list it. MetaMask prompts us if we do want to create this market item, we confirm. And now we wait for the transaction to go through. It's pending here on MetaMask. Oh, now it went through. We get a success message, and we can press OK and move on to our transactions page, where we see that the test mage we just put for sale is for 0.8 Matic is the price. It's waiting for someone to purchase it. So now we can pop open another window, and here you have 2 of these marketplaces open, one with this address and one with this address. And on this address now we can go to this collection, Test Mages, and we see that the Test Mages have all these items, and this one that we just put up for sale is for sale. We can buy it now if we so choose, but let's try and buy this other one. By NFT, we see that it's up for 1 million Matic. We don't quite have that, so let's cancel that. Go back to this one that we just put for sale, buy NFT. That's a nice, reasonable 0.8 Matic. Let's buy. And now MetaMask asks us, do we want to spend 0.8 Matic on this? We confirm. Wait for the transaction to go through. It's pending again. And that went through. Success message. You have purchased this NFT. Okay, go back to our transactions and look at this. It has gone through. We see that we have purchased Test Mage number 4, buy confirm for 0.8 Matic. We can even see it now in our own collections. So if we press that, now here we have all my NFTs, which includes this new Test Mage number 4, as you see over here on the top. And now let's go back to this other account. We refresh that, go to our transactions. It has all the same details, but now this transaction sold and we got 0.8 Matic for selling this NFT. How cool is this? And you can literally build this in no time at all. Just follow along this tutorial and I'll show you how it's done. Let's get stuck in. Cool. To kick things off, we'll go to Moralis.io, which is your Web3 development platform. Allows you to interact and store data from any blockchain we have support for. Currently, it's Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, Avalanche, Phantom. Solana is coming very soon. But you'll have to create an account, sign up for free over here in the top right, or then log in. And after you log in, you are prompted to this Moralis admin page where you can create a new server, and we'll have to do that for our NFT marketplace. We'll create it on the testnet because we want to launch our smart contract on testnet so we can interact with that. We'll just call this YouTube Market, and we'll choose the testnet we want to connect to. So we choose Polygon, but as Moralis is cross-chain, you can choose as many chains as you want, and also they have the mainnet options. But Polygon Mumbai is going to suffice for now. Add instance. Waiting. And as that's creating our server, we can go over here to Google and search for Ethereum Boilerplate. The first link should be this GitHub repository. And if you go there, you see that talented people here at Moralis have built this very cool boilerplate that has access to all the different functions that a normal dapp would have, and also makes it very, very pretty. So we'll use this as a boilerplate to create our NFT marketplace. So to do that, we'll just want to fork this repository. I've already forked it into my own GitHub account, and then over here, get this address for the repository and open up your favorite IDE. And here at Visual Studio Code, I'll want to go to the directory where I want to clone that repository. So we do git clone and do that. Now that we've cloned the repository into the file that we want on our local machine, we can change our directory over here. Moralis, YouTube, Ethereum Boilerplate, open that. And now we are in the repository for the Ethereum Boilerplate. Taking a bit of a closer look at the repository, we actually do find that it is a React app that comes built in with all these cool components and hooks that makes it out of the box ready for integration with Web3. And if you're not a front-end developer, makes it look pretty for you as well. How cool is that? But before we run this app, we got to make sure that we actually have all the dependencies installed. So we do that by running yarn here in the terminal. That runs for us, creates this node modules file for us. While that's running, I can actually go ahead and jump into this .m.example file where this prompts us to get our Moralis application ID and Moralis server URL. And those are something that we need to be able to run this app so we can actually end up connecting our dapp to the blockchains. So funnily enough, if we go back to our Moralis admin page, our YouTube market server over here has been readily set up. So if you view the details for it, it gives us a server URL, which we can copy over here. And then if we open up our IDE back again, copy paste that over there. And then we also need our application ID, which was here as well. So copy that and paste that in as well. Very cool. And before we save, we can also rename this to .env, not .env example. Nice, save that. And now we should be ready to press yarn start. And this should run our dapp. Here it is, the Ethereum Boilerplate in its full glory, powered by Moralis, giving you everything: wallet, fiat on-ramp, DEX, transfers, NFTs, interacting with smart contracts. You can even authenticate over here, sign in, and don't let the Ethereum Boilerplate fool you. It works with any EVM system. Very cool. Of course, we won't need all of this because we're just creating an NFT Marketplace, but the NFT balances might be something useful for us to use when we build our NFT Marketplace dapp. But this is a very good base and foundation where we can start building. So let's just get into the nitty-gritty and open up our IDE and see what we can change. First things first. So like I said, there's a lot of unnecessary stuff in the boilerplate that we won't need for this project. So if you navigate to the source folder, go to app.jsx, we can start removing that clutter. So especially in the header here, we have all these tabs that we won't need, so we'll just delete them. We'll need the NFT balance, as we said. The contracts we won't need. Cool. Oh, the token price as well. Probably won't need to present the Uniswap token price on NFT Marketplace dapp. Then the roots. Of course, the roots take you to the tabs, so we won't need those. We'll just need the root to the NFT balance. dapp, the contract we won't need. And then we'll redirect to Nft Balance. Of course, now we have all these imports we can remove. We don't need them anymore. Tabs we don't need. Delete those. Of course, you could leave these here, but make it a bit cleaner. And if we save that and go look at our dapp, look at that. Now our dapp is just this NFT page, and we have something way more cleaner to start working with to add that NFT Marketplace tab and maybe a transaction tab in addition to your own portfolio. So let's do that next and go back to our IDE. To add these tabs that we want in our NFT Marketplace is relatively simple. We just go to the menu items section. We can copy this and then add the tabs that we wanted to add. Oops, that goes not very pretty. Try again. We need 3 tabs because we need the explore page for the marketplace, and then we need the transactions page. So we'll just call that transactions. We'll call that NFT market, and that will take us to the NFT market. We'll call that, let's say, explore. We can add a nice emoji there later on. We won't call this NFTs anymore. We'll call it your collection. And then finally, we'll call the, oh, that's not NFT balance. That's actually the transactions page. So transactions over there, transactions, sounds good. And then we'll call that transactions. Let's see if I can quickly find some cool emojis for them as well. Yeah, there we go. Add that over there. And then add a little shopping cart for the explore page because we want to make some purchases on the explore page. All right. And then for the roots, because the tabs in the header need to actually take you somewhere. So we'll say that the NFT market and the transactions. So these will take you actually back to the NFT balance page because we haven't created the components for these pages yet, but we'll do that next. So save that. Let's go see what our dapp looks like now. Cool. Your collection, actually, this NFT is loaded already. So you have your collection, you have the explore page, you have the transactions page. Very cool. Explore page takes you to the same page. Transaction page takes you to the same page. And now we can start fiddling and creating the component for these pages. But before we do that, we might actually want to just change this because here on the your collection page, you have a transfer NFT functionality. We probably want to get rid of that and then sell on OpenSea. We don't want to sell it on OpenSea. We want to actually sell it on our marketplace. So we'll just change these tooltips a little bit. So back to the IDE. And as you see, every route takes us to the NFT balance component. So if we go over here and look at our imports, we have NFT balance from components -NFT balance. So if you go over to NFT balance over here, native balance, NFT balance is what we want. And look at what we are actually rendering. We see that tooltip, we have send outlined, we don't need that. Shopping cart outlined, we can leave that, but rather than sell on OpenSea, we want to put list this NFT and then on click add marketplace. Smart contract integration, just to remind us to do that later on. Save that. Go have a quick look, and boom! Look at this. Our tooltip only has view on Block Explorer, where we can view this NFT on the Block Explorer. I can show you. So here is the OpenSea collection. So it just has all the OpenSea NFTs. But then we have this list, this NFT function, where we'll add functionality to actually list the NFT on the marketplace and interact with the smart contract later on. But very cool. It seems like we are automatically not going to one of these tabs, so we might want to just change that still. Go to our IDE and go to app.jsx. So let's do a command find. Quick start. Yeah, we're still going to quick start. So we could just go to NFT balance at the start. Ooh. Default select the key, so we just have to put NFT. That should work out fine for us. Now if we refresh, yeah, you automatically go to your collection and it'll load up with the NFTs after a little while. Yeah, look at that. Okay, so next, creating the content for the Explore tab and the Transaction tab. We'll probably do the Transaction tab last because it'll be easier to have transaction data when we actually have the integrated smart contracts. So we'll just focus on the explore page and start off by simply doing Ethereum NFTs because they are the most prominent NFTs and people know about them. So we'll just do those to start off and then add some NFTs for our Polygon Mumbai testnet and then create that functionality for that. So let's move on to that. Rightio, here in the app.jsx file, we noticed that every time we press any of the tabs on the top, we route ourselves to the NFT balance component. So we need to create a component for the explore page, and we'll start off by just creating a page where we can view a specified NFT collection. That's the clearest way to start doing this. So over here in our components, we have the NFT balance component. We create another component called NFT token IDs, token IDs.jsx, and we can actually just copy all this code and put it into this component. We'll just start altering later on. But the NFT balance component gets the NFT balance of the user using this use NFT balance hook. So if we go and look at our hooks, we see we have this use NFT balance hook, which is a very simple hook that uses the account Web3 API to get the NFTs of that account. But we want to make another hook where we can get the token IDs for a specified collection. So we do the same thing over here. We create a new file called use NFT token IDs.js, and we can do the same thing. Copy that code over there and put it in here. And rather than having the use NFT balance or NFT balance anywhere, we'll just change it to NFT token IDs. So we'll do a NFT balance and change it to token IDs, change all of those. And the same thing in our NFT token IDs, we'll change that. But in our use NFT token IDs hook, now we're just still getting the same thing. We're getting from the account Web3 API, the account NFTs. We want to change that so that we're using the token Web3 API. Change that to token, and rather than get NFTs, we'll do get all token IDs, and as arguments, it takes the chain ID. We'll just use ETH for now. We can use chain because we won't change chain. So another argument is the address, which we need to set a specified address. And let me just get the address for CryptoPunks. There, I got the address and we paste that over here. So now we have, anytime we use this use NFT token IDs hook, we'll get the CryptoPunks token, all the token IDs, so all the tokens in the CryptoPunks collection. Of course, later on, we'll change it so that we can provide options to get a specified collection. But now we'll just see if this works with CryptoPunks. So final thing is just to add this component, this NFT token IDs that uses the use NFT token IDs hook to our app.jsx. So here where we import NFT balance, now we can import NFT token IDs. Cool. And here in our NFT market, we do NFT token IDs. And if we save that, now if we go to the Explore tab, we should actually get a huge list of all the CryptoPunks assets. Let's see if that worked out. Look at that. The Explore page has all these CryptoPunks. So it worked out. Very cool. The next logical step is, of course, to be able to dynamically choose which NFT collection to explore. So we'll have to have some state variables. So we'll add a use state over here from React. And we'll set the initial state of the collection we want to view to Cool Cats NFT. I like that collection. They seem like very cool NFTs. And then our native NFT token IDs will be the child of this, so we can give it the input values as parameters. Input value. Nice. And now if we go to NFT token IDs over here, it will have input value over here, input value, and we can set it as the options over here. So input value. And now, because use NFT token IDs takes as an argument input value, which is the address of the token collection, we can put it here as address and provide it over here, address. And now, if we did everything all right, if we load the app again, we should get on the explore page the Cool Cats NFT collection. Won't you look at that, the Cool Cats NFT collection over here on our explore page. But this is no good, we still hard coded the collection. So we want to add some search bar functionality over here where you can select different collections and it'll always load with that collection. So let's implement that next. First thing you'd likely want to do when creating the search functionality is identify the collections you want to be available on your marketplace. And you can easily do that by creating a helper function. So going over to this helper folder and creating a new file called collections.js. And in here, we can export this function called getCollectionByChainID. So when in any other component, we use this function and provide the chain ID, we are outputted with all the collections that you have as the market owner verified for this marketplace. And we can have parameters like the image of the collection, the name of the collection, and the contract address. So it'll be easier to use these collections in these different components. Here I've added for Ethereum mainnet Cool Cats NFTs. We'll add a few more. All right, so now we have a nice big list of collections on the Ethereum mainnet, Bored Ape Yacht Club, CryptoPunks, Bored Ape Kennel Club, etc., etc. And these are the collections that we have verified as the marketplace owners to be tradable on this marketplace. Of course, as we make it cross-chain, we can change or add another chain like Polygon Mumbai, which we'll do later, and define the collections we want to be available to trade for that chain. Now let's actually create the component that lets us go through these collections and select which we want to view at any given time. So we go to our components folder and create a new component, call it search collections, collections.js x, and first import some things. So we want to import from Ant Design a nice UI element called select. So we want to import that from Ant Design. And then we want to import use Moralis dapp. Nice. Oops. And then lastly, we want to import our get collection by chain that we just created, that helper function. So use Moralis dapp will allow us to get the current chain, so we can actually input that in our get collection by chain function. And now we create this function called function search collections, and that's it. And then we'll want to at the end export default search collections. Beautiful. Start off by defining a few constants. So we need to get the chain ID. Chain ID. And we get that using use Moralis dapp. And then we also get our NFT collections, const NFT collections, using the helper function we just made. So get collection by chain ID, and there we can pass the chain ID that we generated over here. So now NFT collections will give us this array of NFT collections. Very cool. Now that we have this constant of all the collections we're going to display in our element, we can start thinking about the UI elements to return with this function. So we can do a return and define what we're going to give back in that return. And of course, as we are bringing this select UI element from Ant Design, we can just paste that in and bring that. So we're bringing a select element from @design, and then within that select element, we'll want options. Oh, I actually have to bring those options in as well from select const option equals select. So this will allow us to get individual options inside this select input, but we don't want to manually input all of them. So we'll just map through the NFT collections array if we have it. So we'll do this, and then we'll map through them. And every time we'll get the collection, and the index of it, do arrow function. And now in here, we can render the option with a value, which will store the value of the NFT collections, let's say address. So we can use that to render which collection we want to display. So we do collection.address. Then of course we have to have a key for each one, so we'll just use the index for that. Then we can close that. And then what do we display in the actual UI we want to display? We'll display the collection name, .name, of course, coming from here, collection name. Beautiful. I think that should be good. If we save that and now go to app.js, we can import this component we just made, search collections, and then display it in the top menu bar, maybe after this logo. So put it over here, search collections. And that should have us set. If we look at our dashboard, look at that, here we have it. Find collection. We have all these different collections that we set in our collection helper function, but now it isn't responsive yet because we haven't passed the value that the select input is set to the app. So we'll have to do that next. Now, to be able to select the collection interactively, we need to make this input value state available in search collections and setting it especially. So set input value has to be passed over to search collection. And then we can go to our search collection and bring that up over here. No. Now, to be able to interactively change the collection that we're viewing, this input value has to be interchangeable in the search collection component. So we have to pass the set input value over to this child over here. Set input value. We can actually copy that because we'll have to pass that in the search collection. So we do search collection, get set input value. And now as we select any of these options, we need to get the value of the collection address to pass the input value. So we have to have an onChange event over here. So anytime this select input changes, we have to have a function, let's just call it onChange for lack of a better name. And then we'll have to have a function over here called function onChange, which will then change it'll take as argument the value of this option, and then just simply set the input value to that value, effectively changing the address of the collection we just want to view. So if we save that right now, go look at our app again, refresh, go to the Explore page. Initially, it should be set to Cool Cats like it is, and now we can search for any collection. Let's just search for Bored Ape Yacht Club. Over there, Bored Ape Yacht Club. And look at that, it starts rendering with all the Bored Ape Yacht Clubs. How cool is that? We've done that now, and now the Explore page, it automatically renders with a specific collection that we set. So we want to make it so that the Explore page has all the verified collections on this front page, and then by clicking that collection you want to view, or then using the search functionality, you prompt to this page. So let's add that functionality next. So to make sure that we have that explore page where we can select the collection that we want to actually view the NFTs for, we'll go to app.jsx first, make sure that the initial state for the input value is in a specified collection. So we can just say explore. So we'll have explore over here. And then head over to our NFT token IDs component where we get the input value and then conditionally start rendering. So if we get the token IDs and we don't have input value to be equal to explore, we can render what we're currently rendering, explore, and end. So now, if we go back to the app, it should be working the same way, but now when we go to the explore page, it doesn't render anything automatically. Only after we set the input value, say cool cats, it renders with the cool cats. But now we want to get our file back. So now we also want to render. So we'll copy this and we'll render all the different collections if we have explore. So if we have input value to be equal to explore, we won't use the NFT token IDs, but we'll actually use all the collections that we did. We created this helper function for and used in the search collection. So we'll get all the collections on the current chain we're on. So we'll add that as a constant over here. So NFT token IDs knows all the collections, and we'll have to bring that in as well. That's why we're getting the error at the bottom. So import get collections by chain. And now here in our conditional rendering, NFT token IDs we won't need, but we'll need NFT collections. If we do have the NFT collections and our input value to be equal to explore, we can map through all the NFT collections and render their images. We won't need all of this clutter. We won't need to go to the block explorer over here, list this NFT. We'll change that. So we'll want this not to be a shopping cart outline, but we'll leave it for now just to make sure everything works. Now, if we save this, we won't need to show the NFT address probably. So save that and go check out the app again. Go to the explore page. Look at that. Works like a charm, easy as that. Of course, now we only have this one list, this NFT functionality, the same as in the actual collections page. So we want this to work the same way as our select input over here at the top. So it'll actually take us to the collection page. We can do that very quickly. Going back to our IDE. And here in our IDE, we won't have the shopping cart outline. Let's just have a right circle. Right circle. We'll have to import that from Ant Design. Go up here. Import right circle outlined. And on click, we won't alert, but we'll actually just do a set input value because we want to set the input value. But we haven't actually brought that in yet, have we? So we'll go back to app.jsx, and NFT token IDs has to also get set input value. Very beautiful. A little quirky, but works like a charm in the end. Save that. So set input value, and now on click of shopping cart. Oh, we were changing the wrong thing. That's still alert, because this is if it's the actual token ID page, but we want the explore page to be set input value, and set that to the NFT and like it is ADDRS. And now we should have a fully functioning explore page. Refresh that, go to the explore page, cool cat. You changed the list to NFT, but oh, look at that. Takes us to the Cool Cat page. Does our other functionality work? Birded Yacht Club. Oh, very nice, very nice, very nice. Let's go back to our ID and change that one. Change that. What do we have? List this NFT. Let's change that to view this collection. View this collection. Command save. Go back. Refresh. Explore page. And now it says view this collection. Very, very good. The last thing we want to do before we move on to creating the smart contracts so you can actually buy and sell these NFTs is changing this shopping cart. Oh, this won't be list this NFT, will be buy this NFT. But rather than just having an alert, having a nice pop-up where you have an interface where you can actually purchase, or if you're in your own collection, you want to sell your NFT, have a little interface where you can sell your NFT. So let's get into that. Again, in our NFT token IDs component, we'll have to track which NFT we want to be purchasing. So we'll have NFT to buy and set NFT to buy equals use state. At the start, it won't be any NFT. But now, when you're on the NFT token IDs, rather than on click, we have this alert, we'll have a function run called handle by click. And that we will have to create a function. As in the boilerplate, we have the handle transfer click, so we can actually change that. And that actually reminds me, you have to bring in the NFT that you are clicking. So we'll have to put that in as argument over there. So handle by click. And rather than setting a NFT to send, we'll do set NFT to buy. And this also sets the visibility to true, which is actually a constant over here, set visible. And in the bottom of our component, we have this modal that is only set to visible when set to visible comes through, but it's for the transfer functionality. So we want to do a buy NFT to buy. We won't have, that will have a name, of course, and we won't have to put transfer here. We'll just do an alert because we'll build this when we actually have that smart contract. Bought this NFT. Bought this NFT. Confirm loading. We won't need this loading functionality. We can remove that. The OK text can be buy. And we have to, of course, close this over here. And we won't even need any inputs over here because this is just a buy functionality. Of course, as we don't have any inputs, we can still display what the token we selected looks like. So we can just add that over here, the image, and as the source, we have NFT to buy and its image. So we save that. And now if we go check out our app, refresh and explore Cool Cats NFT, view this collection. And if we do list this NFT, you get this buy functionality. Very, very cool. How good is that? Now, I think before we start creating the smart contract, let's just change this to buy this NFT and do the same thing for your collection. So when you click it, you have the sell functionality. All right, so let's find list this NFT, change that to buy this NFT. Now we can copy this modal that we have over here, NFT token IDs, and take it over to NFT balance. Here we have a modal as well. So paste that over there. Of course, we will want to not have NFT to buy. We'll have NFT to sell. Ooh, NFT to sell. Just have proper naming conventions will help you out in the long run. Just trust me on this one. We won't have OK to this to be sell, buy, we'll have it to be sell. And over here where you have alert, add smart place interactions, we'll do handle sell click, pass NFT over there as it gets it from the NFT balance. And same thing, we already have this in the boilerplate, so we just have to change that handle sell click, set NFT to sell rather than send. And also in our variables, we won't have send NFTs, we'll have sell NFTs. We're not sending anything over here. I think that might be it. And go look at our app, refresh it just in case. List this NFT, sell, very good. Bought this NFT, we'll have to change that to sell, but we'll do that when we have the market, the smart contract for the market. And here we have buy this NFT. Very cool. I know I said that we'll go move on to smart contracts next, but before we do that, one final thing, we want to make it available for our selected chains. So we'll add testnet Mumbai and delete all these other chains just to make sure that this is our marketplace. It works on Ethereum and Polygon Mumbai testnet. Let's do that, and then we'll move on to the smart contract. It is in fact very straightforward to select the chains you want to use in your dapp because the boilerplate makes it so easy. We just go to the chains folder, chains.jsx over here, and then you have all these chains, and we can just comment out the ones we don't want to use. We'll comment those out. We'll leave Polygon Mumbai. That's what we're going to use over here. Command save. And then, because we also want there to be some NFT collections for the Polygon Mumbai testnet, I've created a couple of NFT collections on the Mumbai testnet, which we can just add over here. So this is the indicator for the Mumbai testnet, as we see from here in the chains.jsx file. And we have two collections. We have the test majors collection and the pixel show collection. So now if we've coded everything right up until this point, by just changing the chain, we'll see all these new other collections on the Mumbai testnet, and we don't have to hard code anything else. Everything's done straight for you. So we go look at the app. We're on the explore page, and now we only have these two chains available, Ethereum and Mumbai. If we select Mumbai, MetaMask actually prompts us to switch to network. We're allowed to do that. Look at that. We have these two collections, test majors and the pixel show collection. You can view these collections, see all the majors in this. And actually, if you're interested, go check out Moralis YouTube live streams every Wednesday evening, and even does a weekly challenge, and you can actually get yourself one of these real test majors. They're very hot commodity. Go check that out. But now that we've built the explore page, we built the your collection page. Of course, my account has a few of these test majors and one of the pixel show NFTs. We can actually start building out the list NFT functionality with our smart contract and how we integrate that to our Moralis server and backend. And after that, we'll also be able to look at how we can then buy them and then how they'll be presented in our transaction page. The transaction page is still taking us to our own collection. So let's do that, move on to a smart contract and integrating it with Moralis. So let's pop up Remix right here, where I have this marketplace boilerplate Solidity file open, which is actually, I've deployed this smart contract. You saw it in action at the start of the video. We won't go into too much detail. The smart contract will be in the repository below if you want to check it out and start making modifications. But as a general overview, we have the struct that stores market item details. So every market item will have a unique identifier, an item ID, that's incremented one higher every time a new NFT is put up for sale on this smart contract. We store the NFT's contract address and the token ID of the unique NFT that's put up for sale, the address of the seller of the NFT who puts it up on the marketplace, and the address of the owner, so whoever purchases this NFT from the smart contract. And then the seller can of course set a price for the NFT, and then we track whether or not this item ID is sold or not in this final Boolean. Of course, we have this market item created event that we emit this event every time a market item is created, essentially showing us all this data about this new market item, and then we can actually listen to this with Moralis, which I'll show you next. So we can add that to our backend on Moralis' side. But every time a market item is created, we require the NFT contract address and the token ID that we wish to put up for sale and a price that is put up for sale. Then it will be added to the market items that are stored on this contract. And after that, we have this function to create a market sale, which will essentially, you'll have to provide the NFT contract you wish to purchase from and the unique identifying item ID. And as long as you send the required price for the NFT, you will then be able to purchase the NFT that's put up for sale from this smart contract. Easy as that. Now let's look at how, with Moralis, we can listen to these emitted market item created events and store that data in our dapp in order to present in our user interface on our marketplace which items are put up for sale and which ones you can purchase from the smart contracts. So now if we go to our Moralis admin page and we have this YouTube market server up and running and view the details, we have the sync in the top right tab over here. And we can add a new sync event and sync and watch contract events. This is what we're going to do. And because we've launched this smart contract on the Polygon Mumbai testnet, we do that. And for the description, we can just provide a small description of what we're looking at. So market item created, market item created. We won't need to sync historical data. We'll just start syncing whatever events are emitted from this point onwards. And for the topic, we'll actually have to input the event with all its variables. So if we go back to our smart contract, look at the event, market item created, we can copy all of that and go back to Moralis admin and paste it over here. And now that it's pasted in, we won't need the variable names. We just need the variable types of all that the event emits. So we do a uint, address, a uint256, another address, and uint256, and a Boolean. Before we go to the application binary interface, let's add the address of the contract. So I got the address. Of course, I encourage you to deploy this contract yourself and get your own address. And we need to create a table name. So created market items, we can call it created, we'll do a capital, created market items. And finally, we need to provide this application binary interface, and you can get that from Remix. If you've compiled the Solidity file, you get this ABI you can copy from here. And now if we bring in a text editor and see what we just copied, this is just a binary interface for our smart contract. And we just need to find the section for our event, which I believe is here. Yeah, event, market item created. So we'll just copy that from over there. And that is the ABI we need to provide at our admin board. Paste that in there. We should be good. The final step is just to confirm this. And voila, look at that. It is synced. And now our backend will always be listening to whenever our smart contract emits an event for a market item being created and input the data from that event into a table in our database. How cool is that? So next thing, all we have to do is start listing those items that we have in our collections on the marketplace and putting them up for sale on our smart contract. So let's move back to our IDE and see how we do that. So back here in our repository and our IDE, we want to first make sure that the whole dapp has information about the contract we just created. So we'll go to this providers folder where we have the Moralis dapp provider file. And here we can add a few things. We could firstly add our contract ABI. This is stuff that we'll need when we want to interact with the contract through the dapp. So just fill this out, contract ABI, and we want to set that contract ABI. Contract ABI. And over here, if you remember, we had that big file of that application binary interface for our smart contract. If we copy that whole thing and paste it here in string format, nice. So that'll be easily usable for us when we need it. And also it'll be useful for us to have our contract address, because we'll need that when we interact with the contract as well. So we'll call it market address. Market address and set market address. Just basic information about our smart contract. So when we do want to interact with it, we have that information. And then I'll paste it over here. Oh, I actually forgot as well, we have to do use state. Silly me. Same over here. Use state. Oops. And then close that bracket over on the very far side, like that. Very good. Now, of course, they're no use if we don't actually provide them to the whole app. So we'll just copy them over here. Moralis contracts provider, so all the children will have them as well. Copy that over there. And now in any of the components, when we want to interact with the contract, we have all this information available. Next off, let's go to the NFT balance page, which is going to be, in fact, the first thing we're going to work on. We have this modal where we want to buy this NFT. Of course, as you saw in the contract, we need to have a price set for the NFT before we put it up for sale. So we'll have to put a little input field over here. So let's just put input over here and see that we actually brought input from Ant Design. We have, so now, ooh, that's not nice. Now I'll go back down and placeholder, set price in Matic, capital Matic, and on change, whatever the input value is, we will do a set price to be said value. So we have to make sure that we have a constant for price and set price. So now we can store whatever price we want. So now we can know when we interact with our smart contract what the price is for that NFT. All right. Now we can pop over to our app. We haven't been there for a while. We are here on our collection page. We just added this on the list. This NFT page, we added this set price in Matic. Very cool. So now we have, every time we open this, we have this NFT, we have its data, we have its contract address, we have the token ID because we can present it, and then we can set the price. So now when we press the sell, we actually want to interact with the smart contract and put it up for sale on the smart contract we just created. So let's do that. Getting interesting, guys. Of course, the first point where we interact with the smart contract is when we're in the modal and press that sell button. So when we're in that sell button, over here, modal on OK, alert currently is what's happening, but we'll want to create a function, let's say list, and we want capital, and as parameters, we'll set the NFT that we're about to sell. So NFT to sell, and we'll also want to put the price that we set because we are setting that price in this input that's all automatically updating the price as we change it. So we can pass it as a parameter to our list function. And now it's just a matter of creating this list function and seeing how we interact with the smart contract. So let's go all the way up here. I guess we have some previous functions that we don't really need. Delete that, clear the clutter, set receiver, we won't need those. Just make sure that everything looks a bit cleaner. So we need to create a list function. It'll be a synchronous function, async function list. And now let's see what we start filling this function with. Of course, it'll have the NFT, what was it? NFT to buy, NFT, ooh, that's not good. NFT to sell and NFT price. So we can just refer it to as NFT and current price. All right, let's go ahead and import from React Moralis the functionality that lets us execute functions. All right, and then we can start bringing in stuff that we put in the use Moralis dapp provider. So we put market address, and we also put in contract API. Let's go check that it was actually that Moralis dapp provider. Market address and contract API, perfect. So now we can make a couple new constants. Contract processor will get us the execute function. So that will allow us to execute functions on Web3. And then the contract API JSON, of course, it is if we check in string format. So we got to get the actual JSON out. And then we'll also need our list item function name from the smart contract. So we'll just name that whatever its name was, create market item, I believe was the name on the smart contract. So now we have all that functionality and we can use it in our list async function. Essentially what we'll want to do is call this contract processor to be able to execute that create market item function, but we'll have to provide some parameters first before we actually call the contract processor. So let's add those options over here. Of course, the current price multiplied by 10 to the power of 18 to get the decimals right. And then some of the options that we need for the Web3 execute function are of course the contract address. So we've saved the market address from the Moralis dapp provider. The function name, we have that over here, create market item. The contract application binary interface, we have that from over there. And then of course the parameters that create market item asks in the function, which were the NFT contract, which we have from over here, the token ID, and then the price. And now we are ready to do an await and call contract processor. Contract processor. Of course, it's in the wrong spot. I'll take this out from here. Make this look a bit pretty. Put it over here. Contract processor. Then we have to fetch. And now within here, we provide these parameters, these options as parameters, and then an on success and an on failure. So we just paste those over here. So as parameters, contract processor takes all these options. And if the function goes through on the smart contract, we can just say alert item bot. We'll add some nice modals afterwards. We'll just check that this is actually working. And if it doesn't, we'll alert that something went wrong. And now, funnily enough, we should be ready to actually try it out in our app if we can list an item for sale on the smart contract and see if it updates in our backend on Moralis. So let's save that. And now if we head on over to our app and refresh that, it should be working. Let's list this NFT. Let's list it for one Matic. Sell. Oh, we got an error. Let's just have a quick look on what that error is. So rather than alerting something went wrong, let's alert the actual error. Save that and try this again. This should give us an error again. Invalid big number. Are we not passing the right number? So if we go back, oops, let's bring the IDE back. If we input autofocus place or set price in Matic on change, ooh, target dot value is what we want to put. Value, and now the price should be set to whatever the target of the input field is. Now it was just saving the on change event as the price. So now we should be good. If we go back to the dapp, refresh, I think we're on for something exciting. Set price for one Matic and sell. Very cool. MetaMask notices we want to interact, create a market item, confirm that. Should be pending. And after it's successful, we should be able to get an alert message that it went through. Item bought. Look at that. It's not item bought. We're actually item listed. We'll have to change that. But very, very cool. Now we have an item that should be on our contract. Next thing, let's go check our Moralis backend database to see if it's actually there. Let's head on over to Moralis admin page, and on our YouTube market server, which our dapp is running on, open the dashboard. Look at this. Polygon balance, created market items. We have one created market item. How cool. So we've been listening to our smart contract, and the smart contract, when we interacted with it on the dapp, realized that someone wanted to put this NFT for sale, and the NFT token ID is 2. There's an NFT contract address, price is 1, and of course there should be the seller and the owner. There's no owner yet, and it's not sold yet. So now with this data, we can actually start reading this on the explore page and see which NFTs are actually for sale on this marketplace. Let's move on to do that. So first of all, we'll want to add from React Moralis to be able to use Moralis query, because we want to be able to query that data table we just made. And next, we want to be able to get the data from that created market items table on our database. Voila. So we query the created market items table, and then we fetch the market items, and we get these specific columns from the data table, because these are of specific interest for us. So how we intend to indicate to the user of the dapp which items are for sale, we want to add from ant design a little badge. I guess we're not using input, so we can do that. Move that and add badge. And over down here where we render all the NFTs, when we're not on the explore page, right here we can add a badge dot ribbon with a text saying buy now, and color, let's just say green, because green indicates you can buy. Very nice. Green, and then we can close. Ooh, close that as well. Badge without ribbon. Very cool. Oh, that's good. Nice. if we save that, go check out the app. Ethereum Boilerplate. Of course, you see in our collection now that it's up for sale. We don't have it in our collection anymore, the item we just put for sale. Refresh this, go to explore, test images. Of course, now everything says buy now, but we only want to set the one that is for sale to buy now. So we have to make a conditional render. I guess first thing, we can change the description to not be token address, but token ID. I think that would be a bit prettier, but slapping this into a conditional over here. And what do we want to be the conditional? We'll make a function get market item to check if it is a market item actually, and then we can do and. If it is a market item, and this can take as a parameter, because we're mapping through the NFT token IDs, let's take the current NFT and create that function to check if it is actually for sale. So we can remove that and create a function over here. So if we just create this get market item function over here, we loop through the NFTs, and the fetch market items is what we queried from our created market items table on our backend. So this actually tells us what are all the items that are for sale, and then we have to find whether this specific NFT's token address is in the smart contract, if the token ID is in the database, if it's sold, or if it's not sold, because if it's sold, it won't be for sale. And it has to be confirmed, because we also check with Moralis whether when you actually put an item up for sale, it has to pass a couple of blocks to make sure that it actually went through the smart contract. So only after it's confirmed will we be able to see it. And then we return a result. So if we get a result, so if we actually have this NFT on the currently for sale market items, then we will get a truthy function, truthy value, and then we can render the badge ribbon. So let's see if that worked out for us. Refresh the page and go to the explore page, test images. Look at that. Only this test image is for sale at this current moment. And we also changed the token IDs, so it's easier to identify which tokens are which. So now, next thing is just when we buy this NFT, we have to be able to see what the price is and then be able to buy it. So first, let's introduce into the modal, if it is a market item that's actually for sale, let's indicate the price of it. So let's do a conditional render over here as well. We can do get market item, the function that we just made. And every time you've pressed a NFT to open up the modal, you'll have an NFT to buy. So we'll pass that as the parameter to get NFT to buy. And then we can ask if that, then we can present something. All right. And if not, then we'll do something else. So if we have something to buy, let's just chuck that in there. And if we don't have it, let's do something a bit different. So I'll put that over there. But so if we have an NFT to buy, we'll want to add a badge ribbon here as well. So we can just put it around the image, badge ribbon, but now we'll put it so that it is around it like so. And the text probably wouldn't be buy now, but we'll actually want to present the price, which we can get by pasting it over here. So we're getting the get market item, NFT to buy, we're getting its price. Oh, we also have to divide by the decimals to get the actual price presented in Matic. We'll also, if we want to display the currency that we're using for this purchase, we'll want to get the native indicator. So let's do that. Over up here, we have to import get native by chain, which is a helper. And then we can easily just create a constant for it over here. So the native name, so the native assets indicator, and then we can just pop native name into our buy now over down here. So we'll put it over here, not over here, over here. Right, that should have us sorted. So if we save that and go check out what the app looks like, refresh, explore page, test images, buy now, buy this NFT for 1 Matic. Very, very good. We can move this to be over the NFT to look a bit nicer. So let's just add a little bit of styling. So making sure the ribbon is in the right place is as easy as putting it all inside a little div over here, making sure that it's the exact same size as the image, and then closing that div down over here. Div. Of course, we also want to have this other modal. So if you have an NFT that's not for sale, have some sort of indication that is not for sale, and we won't have an alert that bought this NFT. We'll just, if you press OK, you'll set the visibility to false again. And then down below the image, we can build an alert saying that this NFT is not for sale. Cool. So now if we select an NFT that is for sale, we get its price. And then if we don't, we get an alert that this NFT is currently not for sale. Cool. So save that, go to our dapp, refresh it, explore page, test images, buy now, 1 Matic, beautiful, cancel. But if we want to try and buy this one that's not for sale, it says this NFT is currently not for sale. And even if we try to buy, it closes. We can actually change the text from buy to okay. Very good. Also, I didn't like the way that the token IDs were presented with just a number. Let's put a hashtag next to it. So we have the meta description equals NFT token ID. Like so. And refresh, explore. Yeah, now we have a nice little hashtag, looks better. Buy this NFT, buy, and this NFT is currently not for sale. Okay, very good. Now, last thing to do really to get all the smart contract things to work and purchasing and selling is to add the purchasing functionality like we did for in your collection for the listing functionality, and then we can actually create a transaction page to track what transactions we've actually done on our account. So same thing as in the NFT balance component where we created the list functionality, we'll have to bring in the use Web3 execute function. Then of course, we'll create those constants that we need. Contract processor, which allows us to use the Web3 execute function, and contract API JSON. Of course, we have to use Moralis dapp to bring that in. Contract API JSON, and then we'll need the market address in the end as well, won't we? Now, when we scroll down to where we actually press the buy button, buy over here, rather than having an alert, we'll just create a purchase function, purchase. And now we can actually scroll up and create that function over here at the top. We can remove these other clutter that the boilerplate had already for us. Yeah, we don't need amount to send, receiver. All users plus NFT to send, yeah. No good, no good for us. So similarly as in the list, we created a synchronous function called purchase, and close it up, and then we can paste it in here. Nice. So we first of all need to get a few details. So using the get market item function again, we have the NFT to buy because we pressed the modal. So we get its token details. We can get the item ID, what the item ID is on the marketplace, what the price is set for it, and then the options we're going to end up passing to the contract processor. We need to get the market address, of course, which you get using the use Moralis provider, and then the function name. We haven't actually created that, so let's create that over here. Const, what do we call it? Purchase item function will be equal to the function that is on the smart contract, and the smart contract name is create market sale. And of course, similarly to the list, we get the application binary interface, and the create market sale function on the smart contract takes as argument the NFT contract, which we get from the token details, and the item ID that we currently want to buy. And in addition, here we also need to provide the message value. So how much we need to pay to actually get that NFT from the smart contract, and that is as well provided in the token details, token price. And then we can go ahead and create that await for the contract processor and fetch. Let's put the H over here, and now we can paste what the contract processor Web3 execute function takes as parameters. It takes these options as parameters, and on success, we can create an alert saying bought this NFT. And if we get an error, we can alert that error, just in case. This actually reminds me that if in the NFT balance, when we got the on success, we said item bought, we could say item listed rather. All right, but now if we did everything right, if we go back to our app, we should be able to list an item up on the marketplace. Oh, so it seems we get an error. The contract ABI JSON is already declared. Let's go see what's happened. Contract ABI JSON. So of course we brought contract ABI, not contract ABI JSON, from over there, and that should have us going good. Save that, go back to the app, go to the Explore page. We have this NFT we want to buy, one Matic. If we press purchase, MetaMask pops up, says, do we want to purchase it for one Matic? We confirm. We wait for that to go from pending to successful. Nice, it worked. And of course, because we sent that Matic back to ourselves, we don't actually lose that one Matic. Bought this NFT. Let's go check if it worked on our admin dashboard. So go over here, admin dashboard. If we refresh this, you notice that we still have that one market item created. We haven't created any more market items, but the sold column does not change because we're only listening to events when we're creating market items. When something's not sold, we don't listen to that. So we have to create a update of this sold column when we have a successful purchase. So let's go to our IDE and do that. And if we go down to where we have that success, we can create a function called update sold market item. And of course we need to create that function. Let's just put it over here. So we have this asynchronous function that update sold market item, which then gets the ID of the current market item on the not market items table, but created market items table in our data frame, queries for it, awaits until we get that specific ID, a unique ID, and then we can update the object to sold, and we can actually update the owner. We actually have to create that wallet address up over here. That's something we can bring in from Moralis dapp. So wallet address, so whoever purchased the item is updated as, where do we have the function? Ooh, is updated as the owner of that NFT. So now if we do that again, of course it wouldn't have updated the one that we just did, but we can try and list a new item for sale. We can go back to our boilerplate, refresh this, go to our collection. Of course we've got this NFT back because we bought it back to ourselves, but let's put this one up for sale, list it for sale, let's say for 0.5 Matic, sell, confirm, wait for it to confirm. Nice, it confirmed, item listed, okay. And now if we go to the explore page and look at the test images, we see that this previous one we set for sale says buy now still. So if we try and buy it, this should throw us an error. Transaction error, exception thrown in contract code. So we can reject that. But this new item we just put up for sale, this we should be able to purchase, 0.5 Matic, buy that. If we confirm that, wait for it to go through. Excellent, bought this NFT, okay. Cancel that. And now if we go to our Moralis admin page and refresh our market items, created market items, and now this second one we put up for sale has sold equals true, and we've updated our owner to ourselves as well. So we can just manually update these so that it just doesn't bother us later on. But now essentially we've built listing functionality and purchasing functionality for any NFT with smart contract integration. And final thing really to do, so if we refresh this, we should get our explore page to not have this as a purchase option. Now, last thing we can do is add the transaction page to follow your own transactions, and then we're done. Very cool. So we can return back to our app.jsx file where we have this transactions page, and we route to NFT balance. But we'll make a new component called transactions and create it over here. So we have NFT token IDs, create a new component called transactions.jsx. And we'll create that component over here. Right, and then of course we'll have to bring it in our app.jsx. Ooh, that's not nice. Import NFT market transactions. And now that is what we're actually calling it, not transactions. So we'll have to put that over here. We said transactions, we're actually bringing in NFT market transactions. Save that. And now we can start populating this component. We'll first bring in a few imports that will be necessary for us. Okay, so we have these imports that we'll start using when we develop this function forward. So the general element on this page will definitely be a table. So we'll just add this ant design table into the return element, which will return our UI, and it takes in the columns and data source, which we'll have to provide. Just make sure that it looks nice. So we'll create a little styling Cool. So we have this little styles object. So we can give this a style. Style equals styles dot table. Nice. Save that. See if we have any sort of table. Well, we haven't defined these, so we'll take these out just for now. Save that. See if we have any sort of table over here. Refresh. Go to our transaction page. Have a nice little table, and now we start populating this table. So let's pass these arguments back over here, columns and data source, and now we'll have to create those columns and data sources. So we actually need to get that created market items data frame from our Moralis database again, because that will tell us which items have been put up for sale and which items are pending and which items are already sold. So we'll do the same thing. We'll fetch the market items. Using Moralis query, we'll get the created market items and fetch them. And this fetch market items will then become our data. So because our data source is a data, we have to create that data over here. Get that over there. So now we have our data, which loops through all our created market items, gets the date it was pushed up for sale or bought, and puts it in a nice format using moment.js. Then we get the contract address for the NFT contract, store it in collection, token ID, store it in an item. And then because we want some tags to see if it's sold or bought, we'll have the item seller, and whether there's the boolean for if it's sold or not. And then the price, of course, we convert using the decimals to get the matic price. Very good. And so now we can add the column constant over here, which basically means that our ant-design table uses this data source to render these columns. So we have a date column, item column, so the token ID is currently presented, the collection, so currently it's the contract address, and then the transaction status, which will have the seller and the boolean, whether it's sold or not, and then finally the price. We'll make this prettier at the end. Don't worry, we'll just check this works for now. So save that. Go back to our dapp. Everything working. So we've sold, during this tutorial, we've sold 2 items. Their prices are here. The seller is here. The collection isn't rendering for some reason, and the item IDs or the token IDs that we sold are there as well. So now just let's make this a little bit prettier. So it's a bit similar to the one you saw at the sample at the start of this video. Back here in our transaction component, a quick thing we notice is that the data index for collection was set to collection. So we have to fix that. And now the collection should give us the NFT contract for the collection. We'll figure out how to get the name for that later. But a quick thing we can start and do first is change this transaction status. Currently, it's just getting the tags. And as you remember, as with tags, we set the seller of the item and the boolean of whether it's sold or not. So we can actually go over here and do a render. And what this render actually returns to us is a ant-design tag, which is just a nicely formatted version of saying, after we do this little bit of deciphering, figure out whether we're selling the item or buying it, and then figuring out if it's sold or not sold. So when we go through the tags, initially we just set it to geek blue, and we let the status to be buy, so we assume that it's buy. And if the tag is false, so in our booleans, if it's false, we'll set the color to volcano and put the status to waiting. So that will be one of our tags. And on the other tag, or if the boolean is true, we'll make the tag green and say confirmed. But then again, if it is the seller tag and tag is equal to the wallet address, which we actually have to bring in from Moralis dapp over here, wallet address equals use Moralis dapp. So if the user themselves are in the seller column of the data frame, we will return the status of sell for the tag, and then we just render the tag. So let's see what it looks like in action. Nice. So in our boilerplate, we did in fact sell both of the transactions. We're the sellers of both the transactions, and they both got confirmed. And of course, we'll do another example where we'll put it for sale by someone else, and we'll just be the buyer and then see that. And another example, if we haven't bought the item yet and we put it up for sale, it'll say waiting over here. So that makes that just look a bit nicer. Now for the price column, it'll also be nice to indicate what the actual currency is. So Matic in this case. So we'll have to create a Polygon Matic currency logo, which we can do here in our chains. We have this logos file, and we can just add it to the bottom over here. So you can just copy this Polygon currency. This is the SVG for a Polygon, the Polygon logo. Go back to our transactions, bring that Polygon logo in. So we do import Polygon currency from chains.logo. And now we can just, rather than showing the data index just for the price, we can render the logo here as well. Nice. So we render the Polygon currency because that is the currency of this marketplace, and we also render the price. That just loops through every row of the table. I think we have to close this still. Let's just have a look at our dapp. Look at that, very cool. We have the Polygon Matic logo indicating what price we paid for each item. Now, final thing is the collection. We of course have the collection contract address, but in our created market items data frame, which we are actually using to represent or get this data, we don't have the collection name, and people probably understand the collection name better than this contract address. And also we don't have the items picture, which people would likely want to see. So we'll have to generate a functionality to create another data frame over here that stores the the collection names and the images that of each token that is saved, so we can present them over here. So let's do that. We'll have to go back to the listing of the items. So the NFT balance file on our IDE. So as we navigate to the NFT balance component, we look at this list. So every time we list an item for sale, on success, in addition to alerting that the item is listed, we can call a function, say add item image, and this will create a new element in our Moralis backend for the NFT that's just listed, storing its collection name and the image of the item. So we'll have to create that function over here. We can put it, let's just put it down here. So add item image creates Moralis object or extends item images. If we have this data frame in our Moralis backend, which we don't, but the first time it runs, it will create that. That will create a new element in there, set the image property to the NFT we're trying to sell currently, because we're pressed the modal. So we have an NFT we want to sell. We'll get its image, we'll get its token address, its token ID, and its name. So we can then later on refer to the token address and token ID to get the image and name of the collection. How cool is that? So we do that, save over here, and then we can actually try and open up the dapp with another user and try and sell an item from their account and see what happens. Okay, so we open up the dapp with this other address, and in his collection or their collection, they have a couple of pixel show NFTs and a probably test mage NFTs as well. Now, if we put this up for sale over here, put the heart one, let's put it up for sale for one Matic. Sell that. We can of course, do this. And of course, what we are testing now for, it's still pending. Item listed worked out like a charm. Now, if you go first, look at the transactions. Ooh, we have to do some filtering because now we're seeing all the transactions that any user has done on the account. So we have to filter the transaction to be only your transactions. But our sell is up and it's waiting. So we know that our tags are working. But what we're more interested in about are the item images in our backend. So if we open up our backend over here, refresh this, we should have item images over here. Very cool. So we stored whatever the token ID was for it, the NFT contract, and the name of the collection that we put the NFT for sale. So now we can refer to those when creating that transaction page and put the collection name over here and the item image over here and make it look even a bit more cleaner. And of course, we'll filter this out to only give your own account's transactions. So let's do that. And then we're starting to be pretty much finished. Back in the IDE over here. So if we go to our transactions component, of course, first we can do the filtering, which is relatively straightforward. So when we fetched our market items, so we can add a little bit of filtering over here. So first of all, we filter to make sure that the element is the wallet address is equal to either the seller or the owner of the NFT. And then we can also do a little bit of sorting so that everything is chronologically descending order. So we have the newest transaction at the top of the table over here. That's what this is doing over here. That's finished over there. We can have a quick check that actually worked. Cool. Now we only have our own transactions here, and the same thing should apply for our other account. Yeah, we only have our own transactions over here. Cool. Back to the IDE we go. Next off, as we want to start rendering that image and collection name, we actually have to do the same thing here as we do the Moralis query to created market items. We have to actually query for that item images data frame we just made. So we create a query for that. Query item images, use Moralis query, and we fetch those item images, giving us the NFT contract, token ID, name, and image, which will then give us the opportunity to create a couple of functions here. So first off, we of course need to get the item images. So we create a function for that. Getting the item images, we need to pass arguments at the address and the token ID. So if we know the collection address and the token ID, we can use the fetch. We can use the fetch item images object over here to find an element which has the same NFT contract as the address that we passed in as an argument and the ID. And at the end, we'll of course return this image, which is a source to the image of that NFT. So we can place this get image functionality into our item column, where we don't want to use the item as the only data index, but where we have our data, we want to use our collection and item because these will be the parameters for our get image function. So how we do that is we remove this from over here and create a render where passing in as two arguments, the second argument over here allows us to get any data index from the whole data record. So when we render an image, we use the get image, and as we use record collection, we get for that row whatever the NFT contract is and the token ID, because that's stored in item. And of course, we provide some styling so it fits nicely into the data table, the transactions table. And then of course, we also want to give the token ID number in after the image to kind of give more perspective on which token it is. So now I think if we save this, go check out our app, look at that, it's working. We have our item that we just put for sale and its token ID. Last thing we have to do just change this collection to get the name, and it's very similar to this getting the item image. We're just changing from getting the image to get the name. So let's do that finally. Back in the IDE, rather than having this get image function, we'll do another function called get name. It'll have the exact same parameters. We want to fetch the name and get the actual name, because that is over here. So we use the same data frame to fetch item images from our Moralis backend, figure out which has the same NFT contract and token ID, find the first match, and then return the name of that collection. And then we can just present it in our collection page over here, or better yet, we call it the column. So we just do the same thing. We use this render, or we can put that a bit nicer up here. And we do the same thing. We look at the whole record and get the collection, as that's the first parameter for get name, and the token ID, and that will just get the name of the whole collection and present it in our dapp. And here it is. Look at that collection pixel show. It got the collection name. And I think that concludes it. We've built all the functionality for this dapp. We have listing items for sale. We have buying them. Then we can follow your transactions. Let's actually see if you get this cell to conclude. Will this waiting change to confirmed? So let's open up the other instance on the side. Okay, here we have both of the marketplaces with different addresses signed in, open up side by side. Of course, here, because we didn't create the Moralis database, the item images for these first two cells, they're not presented for the collection and item name. So we can just go ahead and delete those. So go here. Let's open this up a little bit. I think it was this one and this one. And we can do an edit, delete these rows. Yes, delete them. And now if we go back to the boilerplate, refresh, now we shouldn't have them in our transaction page. But when we go to the explore page, go to pixel show, this item should now be for sale. Exactly. If we buy this NFT, it's listed for 1 Matic. We can buy it because we have some Matic in our account. Going for 1 Matic, confirm that. We're waiting for it to confirm. Nice, that confirmed. We lost that 1 Matic from our account. But now if we refresh this other account, the sale turned to confirmed. How cool is that? We got 1 Matic into our account. Went from 2.4 to 3.4 Matic on this account, or selling this NFT. And over on this account, look at our transactions. We bought this NFT. How cool, 1 Matic. I guess this hasn't updated. We just refreshed that, so that should update. Yep, cool. And of course, after a while, our own collection actually updates with our pixel show NFT. And here our other address, when they go to their collection, now don't have this NFT stored anymore. But that's it, guys. With under 2 hours of coding, we built a fully fledged NFT marketplace with smart contract where you can explore different NFTs. You can see your own collection, put them for sale, and look at your transaction history. How cool is that? All powered through the almighty Moralis. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Of course, we went through it in very fast pace, so do feel free to go through it in your own time. I have the repository link down in the description below for you guys. Build other functionality on top of it as well. You could build a listing functionality where you get a cut or a little fee every time anyone lists anything to Marketplace. You could add some canceling your listings or whatever you like. Add some rarity tools to your NFTs. Whatever it is, just start building. It's very easy using the all-powerful Web3 development platform that is Moralis. I'll see you guys later. Have fun.